Hey everybody, this is Josh Runquist here for Heavy Debriefings, and we're at the penultimate episode of the Top 100 Albums of 2023, Part 9, Albums 20 through 11. I can't believe we've made it this far. Thank you for sticking around, and if this is your first episode, please go back and check out the rest of it before we finish everything off in the climactic finale of the top 10 albums of 2023 tomorrow. But until then, let's see what cracked the top 20. Cracking things off at number 20 is Insomnium with NO 1696. This concept album, written by the band, is phenomenal. I love what they did with the short story here. Due to being a part of the press and being able to do an interview with Insomnium, I got to check out the full short story and really get to dive into what this album is all about. Getting to know the characters, all the plot changes, the twists and turns that you don't see coming, making for a truly great horror story. And I got to hear those 3 extra tracks that came out just a few weeks back before anybody else did, so, I gotta tug my color on that one. But seriously, this is one of the best melodic death metal albums of 2023, and Insomnium is the unrivaled kings of Finnish melodic death metal. Be it favored or not, they are at the top for a very good reason, and this is one of the best albums that they have ever done. And if you need to get into the band if you haven't before, this is an amazing starting place to be able to get into the band. Coming in at number 19 is Story of the Year with Tear Me to Pieces. Oh boy, I've been waiting for this one because I know it's gonna make some really true die-hard metal fans very upset. Not only that I would put Story of the Year on this list, but have them so high in the top 100, it cracks the top 20. How dare an emo album make it this high? Well, I don't care. I love Story of the Year. I've loved them since Page Avenue. 20 years ago, I've been enjoying this band, and I have no shame putting them on this list. Other albums have made it close to making the top 100. Maybe they've made it, maybe they haven't. But this album, they really directed the ships into the right direction, and I love what they're doing. They got the classic sound back, they're exploring a little more with the electronics, they got a little more of the down-tuned djenty guitars. It's okay with me. It is alright and catchy, really nice hooks, vocals, everything on display. The only thing that I'm missing is the fact that I didn't get to see Page Avenue live when they came to Minnesota. Stuff happens, but I'm so glad that this album has gone over so well with the crowd because it's one of their best albums. Not their best, that's gonna be Page Avenue and it always will be. This is a really nice touch. Coming in at number 18 is Wayfair with American Gothic, and this is my kind of North American folk metal. I really love everything that's going on here, and it's easily the best album that they've put out to date. Of course, they've always explored the folk metal and black metal side, but they really started to appreciate the North American folk metal side on this album. They hinted at it at the previous album, but this time they went fully engaged with it, and it makes them stand out among the rest. Despite the fact that they have evolved so much over the years, I really feel like they toned in and found what they were looking for. Being able to add that country Americana sound, that classic old-timey PNE, not piano, PNE, and so much more into their black metal and North American folk metal roots. I just love what's going on with this album, and it's one of the finest examples in the genre. I can't say the best, because at the time of recording this, I still have not heard the new Panopticon, which would probably be my number 1 album had I heard it before I made this top 100 list, but I digress. Maybe things will change, I'm not sure. But just in case I don't, you need to check out Wayfair, you need to check out American Gothic, if any of this feels like it might be up your alley. Coming in at number 17 is Lord of Shadows with their debut album, Echoes of Yore. This is a supergroup that I didn't know I needed. Heike, formerly of Draconian, Aaron Stainthorpe of My Dying Bride, doing the most tragic romantic duet album I've ever heard in my life. This album is just incredibly dark, tragic, so embraceful in its gothic doom sound. This is one of the finest examples of gothic doom in 2023, if not the 21st century. This is just all over the map when it comes into gothic doom and just being able to tell this tragic love story. There's so much room to see what could happen in the future. Will Lord of Shadows continue on to tell this story? Will they be able to even tell this story in the future? Will they do something new? I have no idea. But until then, if you need some heartbreak and you need to cry some black tears, seriously, check out Lord of Shadows. Coming in at number 16 is Host with their debut album, 9. And I will say, for the longest time, this was my album of the year. And I honestly thought till the bitter end it would have been. But once I reevaluated things, it still deserved to be in the top 20. And let me explain why. Nick Holmes and Gregor McIntosh of Paradise Lost wanted to be able to celebrate the mid-era of their career. No, not mid as in terrible. I mean the middle part of their career. With albums like Icon, Host, and so many other great things that have come in that late 90s, early 2000s sound. They got to experiment with industrial, electronic, dark wave, goth wave, and they do it here to incredible and impeccable moments. This album is all over the map when it comes to that goth wave sound, and I love it for it. Whether you love the 80s sound, whether you love the modern sound, there's something here for you. And especially if you miss that late 90s, early 2000s Paradise Lost, Host is the band for you. Coming in at number 15 is Orphans of Dusk with Spleen, one of the best examples of gothic doom metal in 2023. Imagine Typo Negative meets Woods of Ypres with a little bit of Catatonia and Paradise Lost thrown in as well. A little bit of My Dying Bride as well. There's so many great gothic doom elements combining so much of what I love about the genre into one. It gets a little poppy, a little catchy, a little dark, a little doomy, a little bit of everything. And if you love this style of music, Orphans of Dusk have done it to perfection. The fact that they've done this on their debut album is phenomenal, and I can't wait for that sophomore album to see where the band goes next. Coming in at number 14 is Redemption with I Am the Storm. The sophomore album featuring Tom England and Vikram Shankar joining the band after their long reign, and it's so great to see this new formation of the band really hitting what the band can truly be. Of course, the band has always been known for their dark side of progressive metal, tackling death, love, loss, and everything in between, but within the last album, and especially in this album, you start to hear some more of something you would never expect from Redemption, optimism. I always think of Redemption as black and white, where now, with the Tom England and Vikram Shankar era of the band, you start to see splashes of color everywhere. There's melodic moments, there's harmonic moments that really feel optimistic and make you feel, dare I say, positive. Of course, there's plenty of the dark stuff to go around. It just wouldn't be Redemption without that. But as I mentioned earlier this year when I did my backwards marathon on Redemption, this is a perfect Redemption album, and I gave it an S tier ranking for a very good reason. This is one of the best albums Redemption has ever done, easily the best album with Tom England and Vikram Shankar, and if this is what they're doing now, what's the next album gonna be like? I can't wait. Coming in at number 13, one of the most evil albums of 2023 is Satan's Fall with Destination Destruction. Yes, if you're looking for that Merciful Fate sound done through a more 80s filter, being able to incorporate more of that European 80s heavy metal feel. Not necessarily the King Diamond falsettos, but, done in a different way. Satan's Fall is a band that you need to check out. The sophomore album from this Swedish band is just incredible. It has that revival sound, that heavy speed metal sound, and towards the end of the album, you'll hear some black metal as well. It was a welcome change. This concept album is dark and evil and contains a lot of great stuff that, if you pay attention to the lyrics, some really cool stuff is going on within it. And I can't wait to see where the band goes from here. This is an unsung band I've noticed in 2023, but let me shout it from the rooftops. One of the best bands in 2023 hitting that vintage 80s sound. Go check them out now. Coming in at number 12 is Head with Wings with Without Intervention. This sophomore album took quite a bit of time to be able to come out, and, there's a lot of things that happened within the band, life, the pandemic, so many things that have happened, but I'm so happy to see in 2023 this has come to fruition. The band has explored so much of their sound. They're able to explore that proggy side, getting heavy just enough, exploring more of the alternative side, really exploring the idea of non-linear songwriting when it comes to conceptual ideas. You hear ideas from the first album, you hear ideas from their EP, things that they haven't even explored yet that will be explored on their next release, and so much more, and just seeing how it's all interweaved together in this galaxy, if you will. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And of course, the unsung hero of 2023, although I continue to sing his praises, Vikram Shankar not only was able to do some keyboards on this album, but he produced it, he mixed it, he mastered it, he was able to put his input onto the album, and he does just a magnificent job along with the band. Head with Wings is something that's near and dear to me. If you didn't know before, my mental health show that I do, Something Gives with Josh Runquist, I named that after the song Somewhere Something Gives off of the first album. So they're always going to have some near and dear attachment to me. But knowing that the sophomore album is out for everyone's ears, I hope you go check it out. It's on the prog rock side, it's on the alternative side, but no matter where you lie in the prog world, you're going to find something to thoroughly enjoy about this. Oh, and it's Hideo Kojima approved. Seriously. And finally, closing the penultimate episode of the Top 100 Albums of 2023, at number 11 is Cattle Decapitation with their concept album, Terasite. Now, a lot of people, especially the hardcore fans of Cattle Decapitation, don't like the way that they've gone over the years. They started off as a pure gore grind band, where you couldn't even comprehend what was going on, like the early day Carcass albums, but done in a different way. But over the years, the band has discovered their sound, learned to actually play their instruments, be able to learn to sing and scream, and have become one of the best progressive and technical death grind bands in all of the world. And this time around, they finally embraced a full-on concept album with Terasite, about the world being destroyed and our reactions to it, of course done through a sci-fi lens. The band features things that you would never have expected from a band like this before, with piano, synths, progressive elements, so much clean singing. I can understand why the early day fans don't appreciate this album, but I feel like Cattle Decapitation has only gotten better since Body Harvest. I don't care. They have done so many great things here, and Terasite is just the best of what they've done so far. I hope they continue down this direction and explore even more of what they're capable of, because they're only getting bigger and bigger because they're fully embracing what they're capable of. Why should they stick to one sound? Let them continue evolving. And there you go, folks. Part 9, the penultimate episode of the Top 100 Albums of 2023 has concluded. Tomorrow will be the Top 10 Albums of 2023. Of course, the thing that most people will pay attention to, but I gotta say it again. Albums 100 through 11 are equally worth your time. Just because it ended up in a different position on my list doesn't mean that it can't be your album of the year. It is up to you to go check it out. Seriously, if there's anything that you've enjoyed here, let me know. Have I picked some good albums? Have I picked some bad albums? What's going to show up in the top 10? All of that, let me know down below. And of course, make sure to read the rules of everything so you know what's going on here. And if you want a little bit more information on these albums, go check out my written version of the Top 100 Albums of 2023 up at heavydebriefings.weebly.com. Now, until tomorrow, where we cover the top 10 albums of 2023 for Heavy Debriefings, this is Josh Runquist saying, see ya.